Man, you know what's funny about this story time? This story time, when it was happening, it was scary to me. It was scary because I wanted to fight, but at the same time, I didn't because I knew my uncle was stronger than me. So anyway, around this time, I think I was like in the fourth grade or third grade. I'm not too sure which one I was in, but I was in one of them grades around that time. We had a dude staying at my grandmother's house. His name was Stoker, and my uncle was staying over there too. He's 13 at the time, and I'm 12. And Stoker he's I'm not too sure. Maybe we were around the same age, just a year older than what I'm giving y'all. But I'm not too sure how old we were in this story. But I remember we were kids, and it was just us three dudes at the house. So anyway, Grandma, I'm sorry, I'm thinking about what was happening. Grandma and Granddad, they all went off somewhere, right? It was a school night, and we all had to get ready. We were just sitting around. She had left us, and they went off doing something. My mother, she was at work. She didn't want me staying at the house by myself or whatnot, right? So when I'm sitting there, it's me, my uncle, and Stoker. Stoker was staying over there for a few months because something had happened in his home life. I'm not too sure what happened, but we were all staying there, and we all knew we had to take a bath. Grandmother, she told us, no, we all knew because grandmother called us. She said, hey, y'all make sure y'all take a bath before y'all go to bed, whatnot. We was like, okay, cool. We gonna take our baths before we go to bed. And we sitting there, I wasn't allowed to play the PlayStation or the Xbox during weekdays. My mama was just like that. No matter where I went to, she told me, hey, you better not play no games or nothing. I don't care, whatnot. But my uncle and them, they were allowed to play games all the time. So I disobeyed my mother. I'm sitting there playing games and stuff. And the phone rings. My mother, she tells me, she was like, she'll be over there in like an hour or so because she's about to get off of work. Now it's late at night at this point. We're all sitting around, we're not doing nothing. And then my uncle, he looks at me and Stoker, he said, hey, one of y'all need to go get in the bathtub. Like, I'm not getting in the bathtub first. Like, I'm the oldest. I look at him, well, I'm not getting in the tub. Stoker looks at him like, man, I'm not getting in the tub neither, man. Well, I'm not getting in the tub. Like, we all just sat there. And we knew if we didn't get in that tub, we were all going to get whoopings. We all were going to get our butts tore up because grandma didn't play that bull crap. When she tells us to do something, she expects us to do it. So anyway, we all sitting there fussing and arguing, saying who going to get in the bathtub and not. I'm telling them, I'm not getting in the bathtub. So you know what I do? I walk off, right? And I don't know what escalated to the point. My uncle, he got a belt. He said, I'm telling y'all right now, if neither one of y'all get in that bathtub, I'm gonna whoop y'all. I looked at him, I'm like, ain't no way he gonna whoop us. And this is what this douchebag starts to do. He pulls the belt, he starts hitting the bed beside us, like in between me and Stoker, like real hard. Like he telling us to get in the tub. One of y'all get in the tub right now. He hitting the bed like he's hitting it hard. Oh, mind you, no. I remember where it was my auntie and my mama and my grandmother and my granddad. They was all off somewhere. They went to Dallas and we was all chilling at the house by ourselves. That's where they went to, I remember. So anyway, we were all sitting there. He started, he said, one of y'all better get in the tub right now. And I'm like, man, let me get up out of here, man. I walk in the living room, right? Actually, no, I walked off and I'm running in the house because it looked like he was actually about to hit me. So I ran off in the living room. I jumped in the living room chair. I broke a painting. I jumped right on top of them. I heard glass break, like, and all of a sudden I heard them in the back room. Stoker, he's like, man, get away from me, Van Zant. He's I'm not gonna tell you again, get in that tub. He starts hitting the bed harder and stuff. And then I'm looking, Van Zant, my uncle, Van Zant, this is how my gun looks. And he said, okay, whatever. He threw the belt down, whatever, right? and I'm just sitting there on the couch. And then me and Stoker, we went back to playing video games. And then he looks at me. He says, all right, hey, I ran some bath water for one of y'all too to get in. He said, I'm not getting in that tub. We're like, bro, just get in the tub. What is it? about this? Like, you just get in the tub first. It doesn't matter. And Van Zandt looks at us again. He picks up the belt. And then this time, he says, get in the tub. He started hitting in between the bed. I look at him. I told him, I said, bro, you was not going to hit one of us. And then he looks at us, right? He raps the living daylight out of Stoker next to us. He called my bluff. He did. He came around and rapped Stoker. I'm telling you, he rapped him on the arm. Stoker like, ah! He said, what did you do that for? Stoker looked, he was like, what are you doing, man? Like, why did you hit? He said, I'm not gonna tell you again. Get that tube. And then I looked at him, I'm like, oh, I said, this nigga ain't playing. I said, if this nigga rap Stoker, I said, he gonna rap the daylights out of me. Cause me and Van Zandt, we used to have some heated, like, we used to fight each other, like fist to fist fights. And Van Zandt, he looked at me, he said, I'm gonna give y'all the count to 3. If neither one of y'all get in that tub, I'm gonna whoop y'all. Me and Stoker looked. I ran off and shut the door. I locked Stoker in there. And I heard Van Zandt, he said, Stoker, I'm not gonna tell you get in that tub. He was like, nah, man, I'm not gonna get in that tub. It sounded like he was crying a bit, right? And I'm sitting there, and I'm not getting in that tub. I'm not getting in. And all of a sudden, I went back out there to the living room. I'm sitting there. Here in walks Van Zandt with the belt. He hits the bed. He hits the couch beside me. He said, get in the tub right now. I'm like, God dang it. I said, this nigga's back, man. I said, this nigga is back. I'm sitting there. I'm like, oh no. I looked. I'm like, bro. I said, I'm not getting in that tub. This bastard wraps me with the belt on my leg. He said, Carlos, I'm not gonna tell you again. Get in that tub. I said, if you hit me with that belt again, we gonna fight. I looked at him, bro. He looked, he said, I'm not gonna tell you again, get in that tub. He started grabbing my arm, trying to yank me up. I had pushed him off of me. I said, bro, if you hit me with that belt again, we gonna fight. I'm not playing. We gonna fight in this house. And he looked at me, he tried to hit me, but I dodged it. He took off running after me. I'm running away from him. And I said, all right, I'll get in the tub, whatever, right? And I said, all right, cool. So he put the belt down on the floor, and I acted like I was getting in the tub, but I went back in the living room, and he said, Carlos, didn't I tell you to get in the tub? I said, I'm not getting in the tub first. You get in the tub first. All this over the bathtub. Who gonna get in the bathtub? So anyway, he walks back in there to Stoker, right? Stoker sitting there just chilling. And then he looks at him. He wraps Stoker again with the belt, but this time he wraps him on the side on his rib cage. He said, Stoker, I'm not gonna tell you, get in that tub. I'm not getting in the bathtub. This nigga starts crying. I walk in the living room, right? I'm just sitting there chilling. I hear Stoker crying in the back. I'm sitting there. It sounded like he hit him like 2 to 3 times with the belt. And he said, you gonna keep on getting this whooping or what? I'm like, oh my God. I said, is this nigga really whooping another kid with a belt? This nigga was being a legitimate terror. That's why this is the name. This is why the story is the terror at Grandma's house. This nigga was legitimately being a terror. Now mind y'all, this isn't up in DC. This is down here in Texas where I stay at. So Stoker got hit like 2 times, and Stoker, he said, all right then. Stoker, he's sitting there, he telling him, he was like, all right, he was about to get in the tub, whatever, but Stoker was lying to him. I'm sorry, I'm thinking about this one scene. Like, we all just here chilling at the house, and all of a sudden, I get up because I hear Stoker crying real loud. I'm like, is he really whooping him for real? I walk back there, right? Because I was thinking he was whooping him. And Van Zandt, I see Stoker in his underwear. And I see Stoker in his underwear, right? And Van Zandt has him by the arm. He said, I'm gonna hit you. Like, he literally has his hand out. This nigga Stoker is crying tears. And I thought he threw up on the floor plenty of times, but you know how we be slobbering and stuff when we younger, like when we getting the whooping and stuff. I'm looking, I'm like, bro, I see Van Zandt get ready to go in and hit him again on the butt. He just He stripped down to his underwears. I'm like, no freaking way, bro. I'm looking. Van Zant looks at me. He tries to swing the belt at me. I took off running, and he was trying to whoop me, bro. This thing about it, Van Zant was stronger than me when we were kids. Like, he was way stronger than me because he was in athletics and stuff. I knew without a shadow of a doubt that we'd have been throwing right down in that house. I sat there and thought to myself, I'm like, man, I took off running, right? Here he goes swinging the belt behind me while I'm trying to run from him and stuff. He said, I'm not gonna keep telling y'all, get in that bathtub. I'm like, God dang it, man. I said, he gonna whoop the mess out of it. I said, he gonna beat the daylights out of me, man. And Stoker, he's sitting there, he trying to put his pants back on and stuff, cause I run back to the back. And I check on Stoker. I'm like, hey man, you all right? All of a sudden, here comes Van Zant swinging the belt at us. He had wrapped up. He ain't wrapped that dude again. He wrapped Stoker around the back, and Stoker started crying again. He said, I'm not gonna tell y'all. He grabbed Stoker, getting ready to start whooping Stoker, right? And I'm looking. I'm like, bro, chill out, man. I said, stop trying to do this bullcrap. You ain't no grown person. I said, we gonna fight you. I told Stoker. I'm like, look. I said, we can jump him. He said, no, man. He said, no, he has the upper hand on us. He has the upper hand on us with the bell. He's literally sitting there crying like that on the floor. I'm looking, and Van Zant, he looks at us again. I'm gonna beat the mess out of one of y'all if y'all don't get in that bathtub. Like, this is a stupid story time because all of this over the bathtub, and then I'm sitting there. He starts counting down to 10, 9, 8, 7, and then he gets to 6, 5, 4, 3, right? And then he literally yanks Stoker, and then he like grabs him. He starts swinging the belt, but he missing. Stoker rolling all on the ground and stuff. And all of a sudden, right, we heard a car door shut, like boom. Everything stopped. Stoker, look, he dries his hands real quick, right? Stoker, like, Van Zant literally stripped him out of his underwear. Was he ready to beat him naked? I'm like, bro, what? We all stop. We run to the window and look out the window. It's my mama and my auntie walking up to the door. Van Zant, he was like, oh shoot, he said Tiki coming. Everything like kind of settled down. Everybody ran to the place, right? I ran to the living room, turned on the TV, acting like nothing was going on. I sat there in the living room, just sitting there, and all of a sudden, here go this son of a gun, Van Zant. He just stood there right behind the corner, and all of a sudden, my mama walked in the house. He jumps out of nowhere, like just with the biggest smile on his face, like he wasn't trying to terrorize and beat us to death with a belt. He jumps out and say, "Tiki!" with his arms, and then she was like, "Hey!" She hugged him, right, and she looked, and then I walked back to the back of the bathroom. My mama looked at me. She was like, she said, you had fun and stuff? I just kind of looked out, nodded. I'm like, I'm sitting there. I just looked at Van Zant, and he looked back at me. And we just sitting there, and then we walked to the back of the bathroom. And when I walked back there, I walked in, my mama opened the door. She looked, and I peeked in, looked at Stoker. He was sitting in a bathtub, just sitting there. I looked. He said, oh, hey, ain't Tiki. His eyes are super red. She said, boy, what's wrong with you? He said, oh, nothing. He said, I had hurt myself, and I started crying. And then he looked. We all just sitting there. I'm like, God dang it. That's not the first time Van Zant was sitting there terrorizing us at Grandma's house. Well, he stayed there because that was his mother. And my mama is Van Zant's brother, whatnot, right? I'm sitting there, I'm like, golly, I said, this son of a gun. I said, he was literally willing to beat us to death with a belt. Literally, to beat us to death with a belt for not getting in the bathtub. Moral of the story is, if y'all got a family member that's trying to bully y'all, make sure you stand up. I don't care if y'all, if they're stronger than you, whatever. You take up for yourself. Because Van Zant, he abused his power and was trying to beat us to death over the bathtub. Now, this is the first part of terror at Grandma's house. We got one more part after this. And it's kind of dealing with a bathtub again, but at the same time, it's not. But I will see you guys in the next story time. Peace out.